Well guys, it looks like we're going there and back again with the final film of the Hobbit trilogy. Hey guys, the Black Critic Guy, and I'm here today to review the defining chapter of the Middle-earth saga, The Hobbit, There and Back. I'm sorry, I got it mixed up because they changed the title again. This time it's The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies. So The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies, my God, that is a mouthful. What is up with all the Hobbit titles? I mean, The Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug, and now The Battle of the Five Armies? I mean, come on, guys. But anyway, so The Battle of the Five Armies is, as the title states, 5 armies fight over control for the Lonely Mountain after the death of Smaug. That is the entire movie. So after the disappointment of The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug, which I also reviewed here on this terrace in Guam, I went into this film with so-so expectations. I didn't have high hopes for it, but I didn't lower my expectations either. I was just in the middle. But after seeing the trailer, it looked pretty epic. It looked like a whole lot of fun, and honestly, all I wanted to see from here on out was just an epic battle to happen in this film with some awesome throwdowns. And for the most part, that's exactly what I got, and I will say that this is my favorite of the Hobbit trilogy. The first thing that I will comment on, and it is the main focus of the film, I mean, after all, it is called The Battle of the Five Armies, is the action. I thought, for the most part, that the action scenes were very thrilling. They were intense. I enjoyed all the fight scenes, although the CGI was hit or miss for me, and we'll talk about that a little bit more, but most of the action in the film was awesome. My favorite fight scenes actually happened with Saruman, Galadriel, and Elrond. You actually get to see them fight in this movie. That is awesome. In the previous trilogy, in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, they're more or less just like talking heads. They're there to push the story along. But this time they get to partake in the action, and that was one of my favorite fights in the movie. I was so happy that they finally got to partake in the action. There was also some awesome and satisfying one-on-one fights. The two that really stood out to me was with Thorin versus the Defiler, which was just awesome, and I was very happy how it ended, although it is a bit sad. And then Legolas versus Borg! But then again, Legolas is just a badass, so any action scene that he's in is going to be awesome by default. Although the film in its entirety is not a perfect film in any sense of the word, there are just so many perfect moments sprinkled throughout the entire film that reminded me why I love the Lord of the Rings franchise to begin with. I mean, these scenes were just flawless, although they were very short. I wish they could have been a little bit longer, but in their execution, they were really good. A few of these perfect moments includes when Smaug goes to Lake Town and just lays waste to the entire city. I mean, he just decimates it, and Bard is trying so hard to defeat him. That was a perfect scene. Another example of a perfect scene in this film is when Bilbo and Gandalf are sitting together in complete silence after the battle has ended, which I felt like was so poignant. Like, this scene alone said so much without saying anything whatsoever. And the last memorable perfect scene to me was Thorin's self-reflection. That scene was just so well executed, so well directed, so well acted. This scene was so good. And speaking of Thorin, my God, Thorin Oakenshield is without a doubt the best, most fully realized character, not only in this film, but in the entire Hobbit trilogy. Just like how Smaug stole every scene that he was in the Desolation of Smaug, Thorin stole every scene that he was in here in the Battle of the Five Armies. And I absolutely love the execution and growth of his character, from being consumed by the greed of the mountain to rising up and being the king that he needs to be. I really respected Thorin by the end of the film, and he is actually now one of my favorite characters in the entire Middle-earth saga. Overall, Thorin Oakenshield is just a fantastic character, and I have to give props to Richard Armitage for his portrayal of Thorin. He gave a great performance. Great job, man. And yeah, that's all the things that I really liked about the film. Now let's talk about the things that I didn't like about the film. The first problem that I had was that with all the focus put on the epic throwdown that is the Battle of the Five Armies at the end of the film, the story suffers for it. See what I have to deal with? See what I have to deal with when I try to record outside. With the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I know a lot of you are going to say you shouldn't compare these two trilogies, they're totally different from each other. But given the fact that it is made by the same team that made the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, and the fact that this trilogy is trying so hard to be just like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, I can't help but compare the two. So, in the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, there was a great balance of storytelling and action set pieces. In this film, it's all action-centric with a little bit of story here and there, making it really unbalanced. And going off of the whole action-centricness of this film, we got the CGI. It is just CGI overload to the point where it just felt extremely fake. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there were some scenes where the CGI was fantastic, it was great, but then there'd be other scenes where I'm like, wow, that looks so unreal and terrible. Like, there's this one character that shows up later on in the film that, I swear to God, he is completely CGI'd, and it just looked so weird. It's like the uncanny valley with this character. To harp on the whole overuse of CGI in this film is just beating a dead horse. We all know that they use too much CGI, and it is a huge problem. I just really miss when they had some real sets to shoot action scenes. I mean, is it really too much to ask, Peter Jackson? With your budget, you can make it happen. But believe it or not, that is not the biggest problem that I have with this film. The biggest problem that I had with this film, and it's probably the biggest problem that everybody had with this film, I know that my cousin absolutely hated this element in the film, was the fucking bullshit love triangle between Legolas, Tauriel, and I think his name is Killy. I don't really remember all the dwarves' names, but those three characters. That love triangle... Really, Peter Jackson? Really? Do we really need a love triangle in Middle-earth? That's like putting a love triangle in the Avatar franchise. It is pointless. It serves no purpose to the story. It doesn't propel the characters. It is completely unnecessary. You're just adding extra drama to the movie for drama's sake. I'm speechless, because I really hated this love triangle. And honestly, the character of Tauriel, I think that's how you pronounce her name, played by Evangeline Lilly, she's not a bad character. In fact, I kind of like her. But does she really need a love interest? Can't she just be a warrior woman? Like, seriously. We don't need a love triangle. No love triangles in Middle-earth. But if you have to make a love triangle, just make it between Frodo, Sam, and Gollum. That'd be an interesting love triangle right there. And the last problem that I had, and it's a similar problem that I had with The Desolation of Smaug, is that again, this film was trying so hard to be like The Lord of the Rings. This film tried so hard to be like Return of the King. I mean, with the epic battle at the end and the Return of the King, like literally, it's the Return of the King, but the Hobbit version, and oh my god. Deus Ex Machina to the max. At the end of this film, there is a Deus Ex Machina, and I went, really? Do we need to bring these characters into the film? I was so irate, guys. I mean, I really enjoyed the film. It's a lot of fun, but seriously, we did not need these characters at all. They just forced them into the film. And then sometimes they would make references to the Lord of the Rings that I personally felt like were forced, and some of them just didn't make sense. I don't know, maybe it's because I don't know much about the lore of the Lord of the Rings, but at that moment, that reference just kind of felt really forced. Now, it might seem that I'm being really hard on this film, but guys, even with all those problems, I still had a shit ton of fun watching the Battle of the Five Armies. Like I said, it is my favorite of the Hobbit trilogy, and that's why I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 stars. I think that it is definitely worth watching, especially if you're a fan of not only the Hobbit trilogy, but the Middle-earth saga as a whole. You have to see it. But anyway, what did you guys think of this film? Did you really enjoy it? Did you get a kick out of it? Or did you find it really boring and dull and it was trying so hard to be like Lord of the Rings that irritated you? And let me know, which is your favorite trilogy? The Hobbit trilogy or the Lord of the Rings trilogy? Comment below and let me know. And stay tuned. I'm hoping to have a few more reviews out for you. I've been very busy spending time with my family, and my brother just came in today, so I'm trying to spend time with all of them before I leave Guam. So I hope to review Annie. I hope to review Night of the Museum. I hope to review a shit ton of movies. And I do have one more anime review coming your way that I hope I'll get done. And then stay tuned. This December 27th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the BCG 30,000 subscribers celebratory live chat. I am so close to breaking it. I think I'm a few away from reaching my goal, like maybe 50, 60, 70 away from reaching my goal. So I cannot wait. I'm gonna break it. I'm so happy. But until those videos come, guys, if you would like to be a part of the Black Critic crew and see all these epic videos, please hit that subscribe button below, like this video if you really enjoyed it, and I'm Tony Water II, the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace, YouTube.